Sometimes making the right real estate investment can feel like a showdown in the wild, wild west. Well, saddle up, partner, and ride along with attorney and real estate broker Marshall Biddle as he shares his expert advice and insight on real estate, the law, and more. Welcome to Real Marshall Law.
Here we go again. I can't believe it is episode 4 of Real Marshall Law. Can you? Episode 4?
Who'd have thought? I never would have thought we'd have gotten here.
I never thought we'd make it this far.
Yeah, I mean, I wasn't sure we were going to get out of the gate to begin with, right?
Man. Really? Well, I'm Jack Murphy, and he's not. That's Marshall Biddle.
Yes, I am.
This is your show.
Yes, it is.
I'm just here for the ride.
Well, you know, I like doing radio with you, and I'm thankful that you allow me to do this. But you know, we talked about this. It's just kind of a interesting show, and you know, I always get people asking these questions and those kind of things. So I just figured it'd be a great opportunity for us to fill some time on a Sunday morning and
Sure.
Share some knowledge.
Well, I'm happy to ride shotgun with you.
I like it.
Yep. You're a local attorney and real estate broker, which is kind of neat that you
Yes,
get to
it
do
is.
both.
Sure. Yeah, I am.
I might be needing your services here real soon now that I think about
Yeah,
it.
right. Yeah, I you know, I don't do much of the real estate brokerage, but you know, I have it, and it's a good license to have. It's good knowledge to have. You know, and of course, like I said back in, I don't know, episode 1 or 2, you know, I've been in the real estate and around the real estate business all my life, for decades, really, and so.
And your family even farther back than that,
Yeah,
over 100 years?
100 years, yeah. I think that's 1842 was, I think, when they first started, you know, buying and wheeling and dealing in the land and the, you know, crops and those kind of things. So, yeah, we've been doing it for a minute.
Yeah, I'd say the old Grand Strand has changed since then.
Yeah,
sure.
it has. Yeah, it has. You know, but you know, it's amazing. You give something to the city, and then they charge you to park on it. You know, 100 years later.
You know, that'd make a great topic for a talk show, wouldn't it?
Yeah, for sure. Let's talk about
Parking.
the free land given to the city of Myrtle Beach that they now charge you to park on.
I think North Myrtle recently voted to increase $4 an hour now to park.
Yeah.
And it's always this same little line. We use it for infrastructure improvement. It makes our lives better. And if I'm a business owner and I've got a parking spot in front of my business and someone has to pay $4 for the right to come in and do business with me, I don't know. It's not the $4. It's
Right.
just the principle of that eats at me. Maybe I'm wrong. Tell
well,
me where I'm wrong.
You're not wrong. It's government. You know, it's amazing that taxes never go backwards. You know, Dominion gets they need a rate increase, they get a rate increase. Well, you know, things turn around and everything's great. We don't do a rate decrease. Have you ever seen the stamp go down? Right? I mean, it's the truth. It just doesn't, you know, taxes don't go down.
That's a losing argument because the generation younger than us, do they even buy stamps? They just have everything automatically deducted in the cashless society that they keep pushing for. I was recently in Florida. We're off topic.
Okay. Listen, you know what?
We're off
Today
topic.
might be
Okay.
politics. We
So
might just talk about
I'm not going
politics.
to throw them under the bus.
Sure.
Maybe a glass-bottom boat, perhaps. I was at SeaWorld.
Right.
My son wanted some ice cream. So I go in there for what was 2 scoops of ice cream, which I was thinking would be, okay, $6.50.
Okay.
$7. Wrong,
Yeah.
wrong. Higher than that.
$7.99.
No, higher than that.
More than 10?
More than 10.
Really?
Okay?
Wow.
So I reach in, and I hand the kid a 20. He had panic in his eyes. He's like going, I can't take that. And I was like going, okay, let me see if I've got a 10 and a 1. We only take cards here, no cash transactions.
Right. They charge you 3.5% fee.
Yeah, but I didn't know that.
I know.
I didn't know it.
Yeah.
Because it's $10 worth of ice cream. Why would I want to use a card for that? I like to use a card for something big.
Well, we went to Nashville and everything was like that. And again, here's what it is. Number one, they don't know how to count and they can't make change. Number two, they don't want people around the cash. because it disappears.
Oh.
So now you want to know what did they do? They pull it up and they look at the credit card receipts and they know what they sold.
Well, a family member told me that it was because there was a change shortage.
Right.
And I'm thinking, how?
That must be that bucket of pennies I have in the glass jar, that it's a 10-gallon milk jug. What was that water or milk back in the day? Those big jugs. The big glass ones that people put pennies in? What came in that?
Pickled pig's feet where I live.
Okay, no. You're funny, Jack. I tell you what, pickled pig's feet. Yeah, well, there you have it. Yeah. Pickled pig's feet.
It used to be the law of supply and demand that dictated stuff, but apparently, it still does in real estate, though, right?
Yes, it does. It does. And, again, depends on whether you're, we were talking about that a little earlier. You got the market changing. It changes month to month, like right now they're looking at lower prices and longer time on the market, more inventory. So, it's leaning more towards a buyer's market versus a seller's market.
What does that mean? Buyer's market, seller's market? I think I know.
Well, the buyer, when it's I'll tell you this, we'll do it backwards. We'll start with a seller's market. Seller's market is you put your house on the market and you wait for full price offers from everybody to come flowing in because there's more buyers than there are property to be sold.
Sure, and they don't argue over the price.
Absolutely.
You could have probably sold it for more than you had it listed.
That's correct.
Okay.
So less buyers and fewer sellers and more buyers is a seller's market. Less buyers, more sellers is a buyer's market. So,
okay.
If there's more competition for your house, that's where you end up, going in that direction. So,
well, how does inventory play into that? I mean, that's got to impact it a little bit.
Well, and of course it does. And then you've got, are you buying in a new neighborhood where I can buy the same house that you're selling me that's a year old, brand new from the builder? They're going to pay for my fees. They're going to pay for my lawyer's fees. They're going to give me a $5,000 discount on something here, there, and yon. But the person who's paid for their house and had been there a year, they want to say their house is worth more than that new house over there, but this one's been lived in for a year. They're having to transfer for something. I mean, again, the value is always an opinion. The true value of a house is what you can get somebody to pay you for it.
Right.
So
not what you can borrow money on it.
This is true.
Okay, we learned that.
Well, and back in the day, they'd lend you 103%. You wouldn't even be out of pocket. You know.
Yeah.
And how'd that work out? As John Boy and Billy say, not too good.
Not too good.
That's it.
Yeah.
So, but again, I think our market, I think I've said this on every one of these episodes, is that we're in a decent market here in Myrtle Beach because people want to move here. People are moving here by the droves. We've got good inventory. There's a lot of houses being built right now.
Yeah.
It's slowed down a little bit, but there's still a lot of builders and a lot of good housing that's out there, and people are still coming.
Well, I'm trying to get some remodeling done, and I can't get that done.
Well, they're all busy doing something else. So, it is what it is. But, the contractors and the subs are all busy building their houses and doing their thing. So, you might just have to wait, or you have to pay a premium to get it done.
Oh, my goodness. I thought I was paying a premium anyway.
Well, we're always paying a premium.
Well, we're going to come back in just a bit and
Okay.
take a look at how Georgetown and Horry County and Columbus County, North Carolina, all kind of stack up.
All right. That
As
sounds good.
Real martial law rolls on.
If you're buying or selling real estate and you need an attorney, contact Marshall Biddle at the Biddle Law Firm. Marshall's been involved in the purchase and sale of real estate for more than 30 years, and his family's been in the real estate development business for more than a century. In addition to being an attorney, Marshall is also a licensed real estate agent here in South Carolina. The Biddle Law Firm is located at 913 3rd Avenue in historic downtown Conway and online at biddlelawfirm.net.
Howdy, partner. Welcome back to Real Martial Law.
Hey, we're back with more real martial law.
Yeah, there it was.
That was a pregnant pause. That was intentional.
Intentional.
You think I don't know the name of the show?
Well, we've had a couple of them, so we got to come up with something somewhere.
There have been times when I wish I didn't know the names of things, but anyway, we were going to talk about, or at least I alluded to this. We're all over the road today.
Yes, we are.
Comparing, and I don't even think you can fairly, because it's a world of difference between Columbus County, North Carolina, and Georgetown. I mean, Georgetown is its own animal.
Yes, it is.
Southern part of Georgetown is nothing like the northern part of the county.
No. And, you know, and what happens with the north and east and west and of Horry County is you get to another county, but Georgetown's pretty big, you know, and you got a lot of different diversity in your home buyers and your homeowners, and you know, so, but yeah, I mean, the market really is booming right now in Georgetown County. I mean, their home pricing is up 20% over, you know, over last month, if you will, for the sold prices, and then Columbus County's up about 7.5%.
Okay.
Horry County's just up 2.5%. So, you know, those markets prices are jumping, which is going to tend to, you know, be a robust market. So, you know, I mean, again, it seems like everybody talks about the market's bad, the market's good, the market's this, the market's that, but you know, I mean, I think it's holding steady on a month-to-month basis. It's hard to really look at it in a micro fashion and figure out exactly, predict what it's going to do and how it's going to react. But, you know, it's always, hindsight's always 20/20. You get a pretty good idea of what you're looking at, and you can look back and see what last month's was. I expect once you know, we're starting the spring breaks here, and so, you know, we started seeing, we were coming back from Columbia today, and I ended up in Buc-ee's with some folks, and I could tell that the spring breakers were coming into the beach and getting ready to get their tan on. So, you know, but, and I think that drives a lot of stuff, you know, good weather, get out, flowers are blooming, make your house look a little more beautiful. People are ready to go.
Really?
Yeah. Isn't that why you got that water system at your house there at Myrtle Beach proper?
I try to tell my wife that if you actually spend any time with like an honest-to-goodness agricultural extension agent, they will tell you that you are wasting your money with an irrigation system.
Right.
Now, I have friends in the irrigation business, so I would never say that. But it is phenomenal to me because I have a couple of acres out in the county. I grow the most beautiful grass there. It is absolutely just totally beautiful grass. No irrigation system, nothing.
Yeah, you don't do anything to it but cut it.
No.
Right.
I don't cut it enough.
Right.
Beautiful grass.
Well, and you don't keep the clippings, do you?
No.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So when you take a push mower or ride mower or whatever.
This is Bush Hog City, and I'm the mayor.
You cut it. That's a good inside story right there. Yeah. But, you know, you cut it, the clippings stay there, they die, and they create, you know, more grass.
Yeah.
And, yeah, the grass is, listen, here, my mom and dad have never had an irrigation system at their house. They got gumbo clay about 4 feet down.
Okay.
It rains, and it holds the water forever.
My goodness. Yeah, I've got sand.
Yeah, for
and
sure.
And it's just a perpetual deal.
Yes. Yeah.
Just perpetual.
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 Forever.
Perpetual.
And, you know, Prince said that's a mighty long time.
And so here's the crunch. We already have humidity.
Yes.
And we already have way too much moisture in the air.
Yes.
And I'm just spraying the ground all around the house. And that's why you've got to bring in the pressure washers now.
Oh, yeah, right.
Because we're adding more and more layers of moisture.
Yeah. Now, where I live, when you water everything, we have a high rust factor. You know, so everything the water touches, it stains it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, with the old irrigation system, I just bought some heads and adjusted them so the water wouldn't hit the house. Oh,
Right.
no. Now we've got the new and improved super tank behind the house. And I don't know what this chemical is that I put in there, but it's like $40 a gallon, so help me, that you add to the water, which is a rust blocker. I would say more like an inhibitor.
Okay, inhibitor. That's a good word. I like that.
Blocker.
Yeah, right. Hey, here's Rusty. He's our blocker for today.
It's just, and I'm looking and I'm like going, okay, so we keep growing this grass so you can watch me sweat for 2 hours on Saturday morning? Like, it's really 4.
But it's increasing the value of your real estate,
Oh, sure, it
Jack.
does.
And that's really the main
That's the
thing.
bottom line.
You know, are you happy when you get home and look at your beautiful lawn and your beautiful house and your beautiful wife, and your
okay,
beautiful
okay,
children?
you should have stopped somewhere in there because
know.
there's not enough happiness in the world. Yeah. Oh,
Right.
man, it looks great. It looks great. In fact, it looks so beautiful that sometimes once I'm in the house, I have the urge to get up and walk back out to look at it in the dark.
I know, right?
Yeah.
It just make you feel good. Make sure it ain't glowing, right? Make sure it's not glowing.
Well, if you go out there with a light, and I've told my wife this, you can hire all the exterminators around here you want. Let's do the flashlight test. Turn off all the lights, and then she's like, "Oh my, are those bugs?" I went, "Yeah, little green eyes and red eyes." And,
For sure.
oh, it's something else.
You know, but I think it's interesting. We've been talking about the real estate market for a while, and everybody that doesn't live at the beach thinks that people that live at the beach, all they do is go sit in the beach and put their feet in the sand. They really do. They really believe
They
that,
do.
man, it would be awesome to live at the beach.
that's
I
what
bet
they
you
want.
love it. And
Yep.
that's what they want. They want to retire, come down here, go sit in the sand, and enjoy the waves coming in that sound, and just, it's heaven.
It's
I
wonderful.
get it. And when you live here,
You lose your tan.
I haven't been to the beach.
Yeah.
I haven't been to the beach. What do I go to the beach for? I don't need that sand in my truck.
Right.
I got work to do.
got
Somebody
work.
got to pay the bills.
It's crazy.
I mean, unless you're the deacon, you can sit down there in a radio box at the pavilion. That's how Sweet Daddy can make some money. But
Yeah.
dang,
Yeah.
the rest of us have got to, we got a 9 to 5, or we got to make some money.
It is odd of what we perceive things to be.
Yeah.
Like when I was a kid, I always was intrigued by all the beer commercials on TV. It's like going, wow, look at all those beautiful girls around that guy drinking a beer. So
Yeah.
When
Better
I
drink
got
some
old
beer.
enough-
Right.
I went into one of those places and found me a guy who's old enough to drink a beer, and it looked nothing like that beer commercial.
That's correct.
That's when I started thinking, somebody's lying to me.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, we were having this conversation on the way back from Columbia today, talking about ladies' night, and ladies get in free on Thursday night because the more ladies you got there means the more guys are going to have to pay at the door and buy beer and buy drinks for the ladies.
Yeah.
And that's the sales model.
Yeah. That ladies' night lobby.
Absolutely.
He's still reaping dividends.
No question. Is it still Thursday night? Or it's college night? Then it used to be. Then Sunday was teen night. Now
We
they
should
sell
have hired
alcohol.
The ladies' night lobby.
Yeah, for sure.
When we were having that healthcare debacle.
Oh,
I'm sure I
absolutely.
would have come out a much
Much happier person. Right?
So Columbus County, I
Yeah.
get up that way, cross over to 701, and a lot of times we think that's it. But,
Yeah.
Highway 9 parallels, and if you
Yes,
get
it
on,
does.
you see a lot of North Carolina. I'll tell you, the secret jewel is up there in Brunswick County.
Yeah.
When you get around the Ocean Isle, the Sunset Beaches,
Oh, yeah.
and all back there
Yeah.
through Calabash. It
again-
just runs together. Stevens Crossroads, it's
Yeah.
crazy.
Well, and there's just we hit on it last week. There's just so much property that hasn't been developed, and for the most part, it was in a few families that had it for
Right.
farming purposes. Because there wasn't anything else you could do with it back in the day. And so now, a couple of generations later, it's trickling down, and some people die off and they get split, and one member of the family needs a little money to buy them a house in the mountains or buy them a house in the Keys, or they get rid of some timberland and move on down the road, and the tract builders come in, build some houses, and everybody wants to live at the beach.
Everybody.
Everybody.
Till they get here.
Yeah. I think some people still like it when they get here.
I love it here.
Yeah, I do too.
It's not what I envisioned
No.
at all, but I've been here since 1989, so something's got to hold on me.
For sure. Well, it's interesting because I loved growing up here. I mean, it was like living in paradise. I mean, it was a different crowd every weekend. And so
Yeah.
it was like unending fun and games and just getting to hang out and see and go and do. And I was looking at Bill Garofalo was he wants the Magic Attic sign for his car.
Oh, sure.
And he's like, man, where's this sign? Does anybody know where it is? And of calling Burrs and Chapin and calling, you know, all these other people and that kind of stuff. He wants the one that was over the door, and you know, say, well, it's probably not out there, but you know that some of that stuff is iconic, you know.
Well, somehow, Freakin' Deacon ended up with the Mother Fletcher's awning from the original Mother Fletcher's over the door. Not the sign, but the awning.
The round one.
Yeah.
It was up there. Yeah.
Yeah, one of the guys from the pavilion cut that off, and
Right.
you would have thought that I would have gotten first dibs on that.
Yeah, I would think so
with,
too.
With the whole.
Sure.
But Dwayne Farmer has that now.
Okay. Oh
He's
yeah.
the new manager up at Greg Roll's Alabama Theater.
That Bruce Farmer's son. Do you know Bruce? Used to work for Burrs and Chapin. Might be. I
No,
don't
no.
know.
Dwayne's from Mount Airy. So unless
Okay.
Bruce was from Mount Airy.
No, I don't know. So, anyway, yeah, just lots of nostalgia, a little history. Maybe we ought to do a fireside chat and talk about some of that stuff.
Bill Garofalo. Competition cars.
Yeah, you know,
Because
Bill.
we rode down the bypass the other day, and my wife says, "Oh, the cars aren't there."
I know, right?
Yeah, and I was like, "Oh, yeah, he moved, I believe, over there to Piedmont Avenue."
Yeah, he did.
Pray tell, where is that?
Right?
Tristan, you know where Piedmont? Your daddy knows where everything is.
Yes.
I don't.
Right.
I think that's somewhere off of Highway 501 and Harrelson Boulevard back in there somewhere, isn't it?
It's actually, you go 501 north towards the mall, and it's on the right-hand side where the Granite Place used to be.
Okay.
And so it's right there in that kind of
All right.
industrial area. But I love seeing Bill, and we're totally off track here, but I love seeing Bill's stuff where the cars he sells on the internet, dude, are specialty stuff.
Yeah,
I
they
mean,
really
you
are.
know,
Well, that comes along with it. I mean, you get a home at the beach, you got to get a classy ride.
for sure.
I don't know. It used to be midlife crisis.
Yep. Maybe we ought to just start selling dune buggies again. You know, I know a guy that's got a dune buggy, lived in Pennsylvania, and he brought it down here with him. You know, it's in his garage. Cranks it out during the summer and go rides the beach.
There are really only three colors of those that come to mind: purple, the sparkly gold, and
Yep.
and the green.
Yes.
Those were the three.
His was WKZQ yellow.
Oh, okay.
Right.
Yeah.
You know, Q Rock Radio
Oh,
yellow.
back in the day, you're
Yeah,
bringing
for
back
sure.
the old days.
Old yellow, like the yellow Jeep.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Crazy stuff.
Yeah, it was that color. So
Well, it was all those folks that came here, you know, when you were growing up, and when I got here, and all my friends, they're coming here now.
Yeah.
And I don't know if Myrtle Beach still has that same charm to visitors that are coming here now.
yeah, I don't think it
The
does.
New, like
Yeah,
the folks who are new
Yeah.
families that are coming.
Yeah.
I don't
There-
know if
it's
they have
not.
that same.
there's not much of a family. There's not much for a family to do here.
It's
you know.
different.
Yeah. I mean, there's a couple of little rides at Broadway, or there's a couple of rides down at Family Kingdom, you know, but the full blown pavilions, you know, that cater to all the kids, and the teenage nightlife and the arcades,
Sure.
and you know, it's just not
A
the
day at
same.
the beach is not the same. I mean, you used
No.
to be able to just ride down here and $10, man.
Yep.
Mom would make a sandwich. And
Exactly.
you can have some fun. You go play plenty of
That's it.
games, get cotton candy, have fun.
Yeah.
Man, you're out $10 before you get out of the car. 'Cause you
Yeah,
got-
if they're not towing you yet.
yeah, because you got to pay $8 for 2 hours of parking.
Yeah.
If
you can find it.
If you can find it.
If you can find it.
And I know that it's, you know, in this world we live in, you're over here complaining about $4, but
Hey, $4 is $4.
$4.
Especially when you start talking about the prices of
You know, the
things.
people that can afford the $4, the reason they have the ability is because they knew the value of $4.
This is true.
Come on.
Yeah. Which brings me around to a concept we were talking during the break about, how about Five Guys?
Oh,
Did you believe the $24.99 or something crazy like that for a single
Well,
fries and a drink?
I mean, I understand it. Food costs did go up.
Absolutely. Well,
Okay.
it's all
Labor
based on
costs did
gas.
go up.
It's gas.
Gas
Everything
prices go
increases
up,
everything.
and all their costs went up. But don't get online and try to explain. you just let it
yeah.
just let it roll on.
Bring
down
out
road.
the charts and graphs and explain that to your shareholders, you know, for why you're point back. I mean, I took Benjamin in. He had to have been, you know, preteen, 10 or 11. We went to the one over at across from the Coastal Grand Mall, and I want to say it was like $18 for a burger, fry, and a drink.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, everything's a la carte. You get a drink, it's $2.99. You get fries, it's $2.99, $3.99. Burgers, $5.99. Before you know it,
I
you've
paid
spent
$13 for a barbecue sandwich in Myrtle Beach 3 weeks ago.
what?
Yep.
Did it have sauce on it? Ketchup base or mustard base? Vinegar based?
It was.
You know.
It was. Tomato
We need to
based.
have that conversation on a
Yeah.
Sunday morning. We talk
Seriously.
about ketchup, vinegar, or mustard base barbecue sauce. Listen, speaking of barbecue, Scott's barbecue is about the best barbecue
Oh,
I've ever
okay.
put in my mouth.
Okay.
Over in Andrews.
Okay.
Or it's
Award-winning.
really Hemingway, I
Hemingway,
believe.
really,
yeah, it's
yeah.
Hemingway. But, you know, I mean, where does Andrews end and Hemingway start?
It's kind of hard to figure.
Yeah, yeah. But that's real estate for you. Location, location,
It
location.
sure enough is.
So,
Unbelievable. Maybe when we come back, we'll spend a little more time on talking about maybe law or real estate. Or I could tell you about 3 pieces of pizza,
let's
one
do it.
sweet tea, and 2 bottles of water that cost me $73.
What?
Absolutely.
Well, I got to hear that story.
I'm sick.
Stay tuned. Yeah, I'd be sick too. My wallet hurts.
Oh, my. We're keeping it real. It's real. Martial law. Stay tuned.
If you're buying or selling real estate and you need an attorney, contact Marshall Biddle at the Biddle Law Firm. Marshall's been involved in the purchase and sale of real estate for more than 30 years, and his family's been in the real estate development business for more than a century. In addition to being an attorney, Marshall is also a licensed real estate agent here in South Carolina. The Biddle Law Firm is located at 913 3rd Avenue in historic downtown Conway and online at biddlelawfirm.net.
Giddy up! We're back with more of Real Martial Law.
We are back, and I think we talk more about the prices of fast food than anything else today.
Yeah, well, food in general, whether it was fast, slow, or
Of course, if you saw us in person, we love food.
yeah, for sure. I mean, you know, the key to a man's heart is through his stomach.
Absolutely. Sure enough. Well, if people want to get more information on real estate in the area, how you can help them out as a broker or maybe assist them with some of the legal side of stuff,
Sure.
how do they find you?
Yeah, they can. Well, if they want to ask questions that we can talk about on the air for this show, it's questions@realmartiallaw.com.
Okay.
And then you can check out my website, which is biddlelawfirm.net, biddlelawfirm.net. There it
Okay.
is.
Yeah, I got that.
Okay, well, they can play it back.
I'm a
either
speed
way.
reader, but not
Yeah.
a speed writer.
No, for sure. So
Like a court reporter over
anyway,
here.
just check us out. Or you can call us at 843-903-1600, and we'll always be ready to help you with your
All right.
business.
Well, it's been a while since we got together for lunch. Our schedules are so crazy.
Yep.
We
Yep.
get together for a little radio show, and that's about it.
I know, right? Well, tell me about the $73 pizza if you got a minute.
Yeah, I do. I was, you know how Fred Sanford used to like grab, I'm coming to join you, Elizabeth? Yeah. That one hurt.
Oh,
That one hurt. Because you know some of the scenarios setting up before I went on this
absolutely.
trip.
Yep,
Okay.
yep. Oh, no.
Oh, gosh.
Right.
It's crazy.
I'm sworn to secrecy.
Yeah, so.
Attorney-client privilege.
Yeah. So we're up. You hungry, Jack? Yeah, a little bit. Just a little hungry in
Yeah.
a theme park. I'm
Yeah,
just
for
a
sure.
little hungry. And we get up there, and I didn't do the math really fast. And 3 slices of pizza. Like New York style pizza. But
Sure.
they had it on like this surfboard looking plate.
Okay, yep.
And they cut it diagonally.
Okay.
They play with your eye that way.
Right,
Okay?
right.
It looked like my pizza was bigger than the plate when it was sliced diagonally.
They put a little lettuce in between it to
No,
cover the gap.
no, the only lettuce was what I handed them. and they wouldn't even take the cash.
That's a little cheddar. Oh, Lord. Yeah, don't get me started on not taking cash.
It was the card.
Right.
And so two bottles of water and one sweet tea and 3 pieces of pizza later, $73.
Did they charge you a fee for
Look, I
using
don't
the
care.
card?
I've never wanted to see a dolphin that badly. And I can tell you right now,
Do they still have the killer whale down there?
yeah.
Okay, because
They
I
didn't
couldn't.
have the show. There were a lot of shows.
Okay, I just can't remember whether they're outlawed or they're inlawed or they're uplawed
It's
or
tough.
you know.
It's really, really tough.
I just remember Shamu and Kiki or something like
Yeah,
that.
Shamu's long gone.
Right?
I forget the name.
Yep.
But we did get to see some whales, and they were doing some tricks. and
Okay, cool.
all of that cool stuff.
I like the dolphins. Dolphins are pretty darn smart.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
Manatee, not so smart,
Now,
but it is what it is.
we ended up, can you see me sweating my hiney off looking at an otter and seal show? Yeah. I was doing it. Hey, that's all we got time for this week on Real Martial Law.
I do not have that. I cannot get to get that out of my mind.
Real Martial Law is a paid program. The views expressed on this show are those of the hosts and guests and do not necessarily reflect the views of the ownership or management of this broadcast station.